What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 62 of the Parents and Professors podcast. In this episode, Marjorie is going to talk about whatever she wants to talk about. And I'm going to support her. So get ready for an amazing episode where I'm sure we're going to cover parenting, pop culture, and
DEI. We're going to talk about DEI today.
Yeah,
it's a DEI day.
Yeah, it's a DEI day. So without further ado, welcome to the episode.
Go parents and professors. Go parents and professors.
So Marjorie, what do you want to talk about today?
Okay, so this is a very roundabout episode, but I promise it all makes sense.
It's not roundabout. This is planned. It's organized chaos.
Well, it is. That's better. So randomly, I'm on the internet, on the interwebs. And I come across what turns out to actually be like a positive, generally positive story.
Wait, you had to be talking about Mexican Spider-Man. So I'm.
It's so good.
I'm so uncomfortable even saying those words together.
Because
you know what it sounds like? It sounds like JD Vance or Trump are about to send the Department of Justice.
I hope not to go get this hero.
To try to crack down.
This friendly neighborhood hero who potentially saved some people at a mall. Okay, so here's the story. There is a altercation or some situation that happens at a mall, a shooting. There's a shooting, and he uses a bowling ball to break a window. So him and a bunch of people are trapped in this area. He uses it to break the window, and then people are able to escape. And so, after the fact, he's telling the story, is really excited. And, he says he hears something. No one else heard it. He was telling people to get down. It's like his spidey sense was tingling. And he refers to himself, after saving these people, as Mexican Spider-Man. And I thought that was so cool. Like, he's a real-life superhero. Like, he saved people from a shooting.
I just don't know that I have enough information about the story to feel comfortable.
The point is that he saved people.
But
he helped people escape the vicinity.
What I will say is we'll put the recording in the show notes because this is probably the most disjointed story I've ever heard told to a reporter by a person who's being celebrated as a hero. I will say that. He's
like, what is his name from Ant-Man? The first one?
Paul Rudd?
No.
His little Mexican homie?
Yes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I know his name is going to drive me crazy.
He's that guy. He's in a million different movies.
He's in everything. Anyway, he tells a story just like this guy, and it's hilarious. So, all that to say, I was excited for him. Like, here is a story of a good guy who didn't need a gun, right? Who was able to help people escape. And I think especially now when we're in a time where people of color are being vilified at every turn,
I would say people. Well, it's not. But how do you say this without it sounding like you're doing a BS like Trump? There's good people on both sides. So
called a whole ethnic group garbage.
Oh, so presidential leadership in this country is deeply unserious about equity, diversity, and inclusion in any meaningful way. But I think my larger fear, just in terms of a bridge to what's going on right now, is they're shooting white women now.
Yeah.
So Mexican Superman can't save anybody from an ICE agent who has a quick trigger finger.
Yeah.
And it's been difficult.
It's like they don't even put their safeties on. Like, it's just.
Yeah, but I mean, I think part of what has been concerning to me about that conversation in general has been all the whataboutism for people who are in support. Like, oh, well, that ICE agent was dragged by a car before, or
why are you getting dragged by cars?
Or like this person was obviously trying to get themselves shot. Why were they driving like that?
That's just crazy.
Well, I want to be very careful and thoughtful.
Who obviously wants to get shot?
I don't think anybody wants to get shot, but I think that the ability for the media to come out and spin it immediately. The thing that I was most concerned about is Minneapolis seems to be this really crazy flashpoint for civil rights related incidents.
Which is interesting.
In this country, especially as it relates to the Trump administration. And so, from the same producers who gave you George Floyd.
Yeah.
Right. We're in Minneapolis again. And this white woman is in a car and gets shot in the face by an ICE agent. The video is very disturbing. I know that there have been a lot of additional fake videos put out to kind of support whatever political position people have found themselves in. But gross. I don't know that there's any way for me personally to be comfortable with what I witnessed in the video. And it's a person being shot in the face when you could have just let them drive by. When at point blank range, you don't really need to discharge your weapon like that. When there were countless opportunities for de-escalation or just a different choice. And so before this person could even be really mourned, the White House is already coming out with spin and doing everything that they can to destroy their character. And I was sad, but I meant it when I said it. I was like, oh, they're treating Shorty like a unarmed black man.
I mean, it really isn't. I mean, is anyone surprised though? No.
I think
there's no bottom. There's no floor. Like there's nothing that they won't attempt to shift the narrative about, as long as it's in their favor and helps them to promote their agenda.
Yeah, I think it. I agree, and so I hold a certain level of cynicism that probably is aligned with the face that you're making right now.
Sorry, I'm like, let me fix mine.
Like, did you see the scolding look that she gave me? Like, I dare you to disagree, ninja. But I think my perspective, not that I wasn't already on high alert, not that things aren't already crazy, but I think that the idea that people who are normally a protected class and who in the typical narrative of a lot of the MAGA heads are the people who need the most protection.
Yes.
That they would be victim of heinous public on video crime.
That's crazy.
Committed by fake law enforcement officers who have to hide their face to do their job. I think that's scary. And if you're familiar with the history of how black people are treated in this country, you know, you might be like, oh, well, that's nothing new. Like, this sounds like modern KKK.
No, but when they treat white people like black people, like that's not a good.
That's like scary. And I hate that I even think that. But when you start treating your whites like you treat your blacks, like, you know, something's really up. Like, that's think of how terrible of a sense that even if it makes perfect sense.
That's crazy. And the hypocrisy of the conversations are really difficult for me to discuss and not feel frustrated by. So, for example.
So what's break down the hypocrisy first.
It's like the steps, right? Okay. So one of this administration's main rallying cries is, you know, we are against diversity, equity, and inclusion. We claim to want to promote a meritocracy, and the quotes couldn't be bigger. And then we put people who have demonstrated no merit, no skills, no abilities relevant to the work that they're doing, and we are handing out all these positions. I'm just saying. People who in normal times would never even come close to sniffing these positions. Now, what's the next step of that? We're gonna create a whole force of ICE agents, many of whom have only a high school education, if that, some less than. And this is just information that's reported on federal recruitment of folks. And similar to the military, where do we get our people from? And put them through, how much training are they really getting? 2 months? Maybe?
I mean, they have crazy signing bonuses.
On top of signing bonuses. So lots of people are signing up to do this.
But if you think about, and you know, fact check me if I'm getting some of it wrong in terms of just re-reporting, but I'm hearing they're talking about $50,000 signing bonuses for people, like some of the Texas recruitment stuff that was going on. I'm like, $50,000 for somebody who's already out of a gig and has the capacity and willingness to be an ICE agent. that's potentially a life-changing amount of money that'll make you do things that you might not necessarily consider reasonable under different circumstances. Like when, as a researcher, you have to think all the time about your incentives. Right?
Yes.
So you can't give somebody an incentive so reckless that
it changes their answer or their behavior in a way that is compromising.
And so if you incentivize being an ICE agent and following the crazy secret policing rules,
it's not funny
that they want to put forward.
It's not funny at all.
Have you been incentivized to be reckless?
Yes. And adding the rhetoric from, again, this administration, these people are less than human. They deserve to be treated as less than. They don't have any rights. They're monsters and rapists and killers, and they're not white. And, they're taking your jobs. And have we mentioned that they're not white? So there's all of this happening, and it's nuts. And then when these untrained people, some of whom are just Disney bullies, hopped up on meth, you just set them loose in the streets, what do you think is going to happen? Like, I don't think anyone is surprised. I think no one is surprised that this happened. Because what have we seen
the surprise part for me isn't necessarily that it happened. It's that, and it's going to sound nuts. And I hear it before I even say it out loud. Mm-hmm. But, okay, so you know how we play games with like this juxtaposition of particular words. So if you say reverse racism, see the face that you just made? But like people will give you charges of reverse racism if racism isn't going in the right direction. Right?
Essentially, like...
Yeah, so like, hey, if a white person is being discriminated against based on race, that's reverse racism. And the reason it's reverse is because racism is supposed to go towards...
Only supposed to go this way.
Exactly. And so my concern is, oh man, I don't like it, but I'm like, ooh, white women getting shot. That's like the reverse racism of police violence.
I mean, it's high key. High key.
Yeah, so there's so many little sub-issues within that you could peel apart, right? So state-sanctioned violence is probably the biggest one. Black people have been dealing with that forever, but hey, you get slapped, you get your rights violated, a police officer comes to your house and shoots you. You
sprinkle some crack on him, Johnson. Like,
that's
it.
You don't expect justice.
No.
And so in a situation like this, part of my concern and my excitement are like tempered by each other. Because on the one hand, I'm like, ooh.
Maybe people will do something about this
now. Yeah, that's a white woman. They're not going to let them get away with this.
I'm pretty sure now something will be done.
Yeah, and also like, oh wow, they're going to try to use the same tactics that they would use against our communities.
I mean, again,
hey, let's defame the character. Let's engage in an ad hominem attack immediately.
It's us or them.
Yeah, because you must, for somebody to have used lethal force on you in this way, you must have deserved it.
So I was in the gym the day.
That's where I get most of my Fox
That's
news.
where I get my news from. Right. It's Fox and CNN. And then the local news. Shout out to, what is it, KOMU?
Yeah, KOMU.
But I was just like, what are we doing? So they're talking about what happened. And they were like, yeah, apparently she was a poet and she wasn't even born in... And I was like...
They said poet like a dirty word?
Yeah, I was like, are you... Really? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed because in my mind, I remember when I was younger, and there will be a connection to the kids, I promise. But I remember when I was younger thinking like naively, we've made so much progress since slavery and the civil rights movement that we're like, there's still some holdovers, but we're there. We are trending in the right direction. We're good. And then I got to college and was like, oh, no, people still racist, but like, not everybody. And it's still better. Like we're trending in the right direction.
To what do you attribute your optimism in these different spaces or pessimism?
I think my optimism was shaped by my educational spaces. And so they were, particularly my high school, were actually really diverse. And so I also recognize in hindsight that I went to Catholic high school in Long Island. And so it's not a neighborhood school. Mm-hmm. all of my schools offered financial aid scholarships. And when you think about, our generation of parents who, I want the best for my kids. I don't know that, this is when like public school seems scary to some people. I guess it still does. And there was a Catholic school education was just very popular at the time. Like, I feel like a lot of people went to private schools in Long Island. So you're pulling people from all over, from different backgrounds, from different parts of Long Island. We had Black kids and white kids and Asian kids and
kids who climb on rocks,
Indian kids,
doing Oscar Mayer commercial,
kids who wear purple socks. Like, I just, and so what I experienced made me feel optimistic. Post 2008, I think we know better, and it's almost felt like a shoo, right, like a up and then down.
So wait, you traced the down to when Obama got elected?
My peak was Obama's election. Now I know we weren't like a post-racial society or anything like that, but I did think like, oh, okay, like we can do this. We can do this. We don't. It's not perfect. There's a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of flaws in our systems.
I mean, I think you appropriately identified the start of the backlash.
Yes.
It's like, this is not how the system is supposed to work. Why is there a darkie in the main seat?
A Muslim Kenyan, no less.
We gotta, so we figured it out. So I guess, what are the other aspects of this story that have you concerned about kind of the contemporary DEI landscape?
So all of it, I think, to me, feels like we have what is it? What do you call it when shows become different shows? They're like,
Jump the shark?
Yes. America has jumped the shark.
Oh, so American exceptionalism is over because we don't get this part of the policy right?
Right. Like, this was the track, and like, this is what everyone liked about this show. And you were like, hey, all that like democracy, diversity, making us number one in the world, knowing that our talent comes from honestly bringing people in. Like, any flourishing society needs.
Is it possible to unjump the shark?
Ooh, or does the show just need to be canceled and we start over?
Well,
we need a spinoff.
Yeah,
at the very least.
I mean, they tried to make Venezuela a spinoff.
Yeah. We're not even 2 weeks into 26, and it's so much.
Your boy also ran on no foreign wars, so this is
what?
Yeah, that was one of his talking points.
What do you mean?
Trump was like, yo, no foreign wars. We're getting America out.
No.
I'm trying to get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that's over. So we see. F that. I just,
a little bit different.
All of it feels like we are so distracted by so many things that we can't focus on the positive, and that we can't wrap our minds around the idea that it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. Okay,
so we know the distraction is intentional. Like,
yes.
They're distracting us on purpose.
What did you do earlier? Confetti.
Oh, wait, no. The distractions are certainly on purpose. For me, the distractions are most concerning because accountability is something that just gets washed away.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is just waiting for the next scandal. Everybody's just waiting for the next shoe to drop on all the open loops that we have right now. So nobody's like staying and keeping people accountable. And I guess, what are your thoughts about changing that?
I don't know. And I am concerned that there is an over-reliance on the courts to be the only fix.
Oh, the courts don't do anything. When they're not voting for, like, oh yeah, let them finish. Right? Like,
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
It's literally it's the meme. I'll allow it. So, it's not, I don't think nothing. It's not that they haven't done anything.
But you file an injunction and then they do what they plan to do anyway.
And that's the problem. So I think about it, you know what? I think about it in the same way that I think about what are the things that we tell our kids about what's important. And we talk to them all the time about accountability and being responsible for your actions and taking care of business and making sure that you are above reproach, that you're doing the right thing. And I feel like, we have completely abandoned any semblance of ethical or moral or civil behavior. We have tossed it into the dumpster and set it on fire.
But who's we? So I feel like that's a very broad collective we. And there are plenty of people who believe in those things and wish that the federal government reflected those as values.
But clearly not enough. I mean, can you imagine? So like any of the things. Oh, it's, you know what? I'm going to put this commercial in the show notes. There was a commercial of children and they had them reading direct quotes from the president. And it was such a jarring, disgusting thing to watch. Because these children were, you know, what are you, a moron? And I'll grab them by the...
Ooh.
Kids. You know...
But that's the...
You wouldn't allow this to happen in your actual homes.
Oh.
If your kid came to you and said, Mr. Trump, who teaches at school, said this, you'd be up in arms. You'd say absolutely not. He would be, at the very minimum, dealing with an administrative suspension.
Yeah, I disagree. So the whole purpose of them doing all the language policing, or like actually language anti-policing, is to give Trump runway to say and do whatever he wants to do. So all the anti-DEI, all the anti-trans, all the anti-diversity, really, in one way, shape, or form, and the continued abrasive rhetoric, even the like woman body shaming. He called somebody piggy.
It's really disgusting. Yeah, him and the female reporters.
Yeah, like they've normalized all that on purpose. Like the intention is to desensitize you to it. The intention is to make it where you're not really thinking about it, so that you wouldn't ask that question or you wouldn't report that person at school.
I mean, but that's part of the problem, right? That where did that go? There used to be a time where...
Because there used to be well, maybe this brings us full circle.
And the we is American people. That's the American people. He doesn't get to be where he is if, you know...
But he gets to be where he is because he's destroyed the accountability mechanisms. So if you can't hold somebody accountable for being egregious, so, hey, there's no such thing as a racist unless it's racist against white people. Hey, let's destroy this history. Let's get rid of this information in these textbooks. Hey, I don't want you teaching something that's going to make my white child feel guilty about being white, right? Like there's all those ideas are connected. And so if you say, hey, you're not allowed to hold anybody accountable for racism and you're not allowed to hold anybody accountable for sexism, then you actually legislatively start to create a world where it's okay for you to move the way that he moves and talk the way that he talks.
Yes, but that didn't come till the second term. He had a whole first one, and they were like, give it to us again. They like Dan and Stugatz. Give it to me again. I
can't.
So again,
and
he got to where he was. There had to be some... I keep thinking about if Maximilian or Macaria came home behaving or saying any of these things... Like, it's a wrap for them.
They're too black. That's those rules.
It's a wrap for them.
That part of the rules hasn't changed. You still can't do it if you're black.
That's the part that I'm like... And in fact, you know, there are people cheering, like where we started, what happened to this woman who, not that long ago, when you mentioned the new he who shall not be named, it was... madness. Like, you couldn't say anything except that he was the sweetest, kindest, most caringest person in the whole wide world, right next to Mother Teresa. That's where he was. That's the only thing you could say. And they were tearing people down. Faculty members were losing their jobs just by repeating what somebody said.
Yeah.
I
think the person that you can name is Charlie Kirk.
I'm tired.
And
don't get us canceled.
I think...
I don't want death threats.
Yeah, but if you look at the difference in the way that the stories are handled on the national level, like
that's the point.
the death of somebody by gunfire who had an alternative viewpoint to you, and how the spin machine
That's the point.
can create whatever they want. Like, that should be deeply concerning and not.
And hypocritical.
Yeah.
Wildly. Speaking of hypocrisy, we're in such an interesting place because at the same time that these things are under attack, randomly trending today was autistic Barbie. And I'm like, wait.
You got the.
Yes. Because we're going to talk about autistic Barbie. And I'm excited. Like, go Barbie. Tons of fun. She's amazing. She's had more careers than anyone in the history of mankind. Like, that's what's up. But it's interesting that every single news site, webpage, whatever, after that story broke this morning, like within minutes, hours, everyone's reporting on it. Everyone. And talking about inclusion and how we talk to all of these experts and we wanted autistic kids to be seen and and I say that not that it's not great. It is. But wait a minute. I thought we were against diversity, equity, and inclusion. So or is it only when it comes to Black and brown people?
I mean,
that's my question.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion matters on topics that track.
What do you mean, Michael?
Well, being Black and brown don't track.
Track with what?
The larger fascist agenda in this country.
That was the only direction you could go. Fascist. Here we are.
Like, well, hold on. Let me not say fascist.
Also,
separatist.
This whole episode is
crushing
a
of
trigger.
minorities. Backward, deeply concerning. Well, and I think there is something to paying attention to where it's allowed and where it's not, and how the lines are just getting drawn and redrawn and drawn and redrawn. And so there's a whole set of issues in ability status and like how people are going to be able to get accommodations, or whether the
Times New
professional
Roman
should be.
Why are you so hateful?
But like there's so many different schools of thoughts, like the accommodation of school of thought, and if you're like a strict meritocracy person, then
you think people with disabilities don't deserve it because if you can't earn it on your own, then you shouldn't have it.
Yeah, like look, God made you that way because you're not supposed to get these dollars. Like that's how crazy.
I mean, essentially, that's what you're saying.
I mean, but like,
your eyesight is bad.
These
Kick
glasses.
rocks.
Oh, actually, it's look.
Right?
Get rid of those. But it sounds ridiculous. But
It sounds because it is.
But that's how it feels. And so for me, yes, this is a very triggering episode. Shout out to Mexican Spider-Man.
Seriously.
But we're gonna keep working because what I want to really think about is solutions, accountability, the way forward. We have only been under this regime for a calendar year. It's not even a full calendar year. We haven't made it to MLK yet. Like, it's not back to inauguration day. We can't wait until November to act. And voice matters. I think we should be talking about this stuff. I think there's ways to connect it to research and connect it to the way that we're parenting our children, because they need to be thoughtful consumers of the news so that they can protect themselves in the world, so they can have a sense of what's going on and where they can and cannot be. I mean, even all the new global travel advisories, like we might not be able to go to South America by the time we get to summer break.
Damn.
Because if you're creating a theater of war with your neighbors, regardless of what your justification is, like that matters. And so paying attention to local news, paying attention to international news, paying attention to the defense industry and how much money is being poured into it as we create something different from what we said we're going to create. Like that's really important. And we'll need to continue to be vigilant, but also solutions oriented.
So how do we be solutions oriented in a space where people might feel like there's limited ability to counter or act on what's happening? And in fact, we have another budget discussion by our also wonderful Congress coming up.
Oh, Romy Rome.
And
trying to get Jerome Powell.
Oh, right. Like
Toast.
it is.
Well, I want you to get to that. So offer that if
Yes.
you have some morsels that you want to chew on.
No. I just, how do we get there when people feel like, well, what recourse do we have? Because it's the federal government. And in fact, across multiple sectors, education, business, health, we are watching not just the dismantling of DEI, but really of any form of regulation or government intervention that can provide social and public good. Where do we go from there? Right? The CDC is like, all them vaccines, we're good. And also meat, lots of meat is now at the top. Like, people are going to be born who will have them. It's not funny.
Yeah, I think I'm really scared.
It's not funny. Oh my God.
Just tell me it's going to be
They're going to have a plate that's mostly meat.
Oh.
Meat. That's going to fix our problems. I feel like we did this in the Mad Men era when there was like steak and potatoes. But it's cool. Let's try it again. Why don't we just hand out cigarettes and Mad Dog 2020 to freaking graduating high school seniors while we're at it?
Wait, listen. Stick with us. I promise the next episode's not going to be this depressing.
Autistic Barbie was a win. That was a positive.
We'll have to come back to that and celebrate that on the next episode of the Parents and Professors podcast. Peace. If this conversation resonated with you, do us a huge, huge, huge favor. Like the episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on all our socials. I actually be going crazy on Instagram, so that's the best one.
And please feel free to drop a comment below. Tell us what you liked, what you hated, where you'd like us to dig deeper, or even if you think we missed something. We're always learning and growing, and we want to make sure that we're creating content that resonates with viewers like you.
And most importantly, and this is a huge one, if you know somebody who could benefit from hearing the conversations that we're having on this episode, please share. Sharing is caring. We're doing this for the love and to build a community because it matters.
And at the end of the day, that's the most important part, creating spaces where we can have real, honest conversations about the things that matter to you, education, parenting, relationships, and everything in between.
So thanks for being part of our community. Go check out the catalog of other episodes if you haven't. And we look forward to seeing you next time on the Parents and Professors podcast.